And we are good to go in just a few minutes time with what will be the first event of this season, the 15th season. As a matter of fact, in the Highline Racing League ASC Services and Supply Incorporated Premier Series, and we couldn't be any more excited. It looks like we're still working on some stuff behind the scenes, making sure everything is intact as we get going here for the first time all season at Daytona. These are the duels, and they are especially exciting. Some of the best parts of the season, getting things started. Everyone's shaking off the dust as we are shaking off the dust ourselves, as we are getting ready to set up for what will be the first race of the Highline Racing League's Season 15. It is the Duels at Daytona, two 30-lap events to set the stage for the main event next Thursday. It will be the season opener, and that's when everything goes down, and we can't be more excited. Right now, Brad Kress on the pole for duel number 1. The first duel going to be 30 laps, and the second duel, a 30-lap showdown as well. And we have already got the guys on the grid as we are still working on our end to make sure everything is perfect. As everyone's going to be rolling off already, the intermission only put on as we are going to make sure that every single part of the experience for the viewer is optimized, and we will have that ready for you in just a moment's time. It looks like we're actually going to have it ready for you right about now as we're going to drop it in and put you on the way to watching some great drivers go at it for the first time all year long. And 2023, we are glad to have these guys back. Last season, Scott Wheeler came home with a title in dominating fashion. Will he do it again? We will find out as we are getting ready to roll once more. The drivers are already through the first and second turns here at Daytona. We still have a lot of time before the race gets on its way. You have not missed a thing here when it comes to the racing action. IORA ended just a bit late, and now we're preparing just a bit late for this as well. But nonetheless, we are getting ready for an incredible show with a group of incredible drivers, and we are more than excited to have them back as we already appear to be set to put the new overlays back on your screen. We have a field of what appears to be 14 drivers getting ready and getting set to go for the first time all season long. The high banks at Daytona International Speedway, a historic location for stock car racing, no matter what series, and for the Highline Racing League, that is true as well. 15 seasons of history, and we get ready to determine the grid for the first race of the season here and now. It's Brad Kress leading the way alongside Chad Winstead as we are good to go in the Daytona Duels. Let's go racing, led by Winstead. And Brad Kress right beside him. And Winstead gets a great start. Kress going to be able to fight back in one lap in at the 30. We are already on the move. And every one of these drivers knowing this race is especially important when it comes to how this next one will show up. You want to get a great start here. Every driver is locked in, having a starting position in the main event. But they know that you want to start up front at a super speedway, a plate track, no matter when, no matter where. It all comes down to where you are on track, to where you will finish in the event in most cases. So staying up front is the move. Chad Winstead in the 30. Ford machine is on a great run so far as he's got what looks to be the 10 machine Robert Kenny on the move right beside him, and Kenny looks to be the driver who's going to lead the first lap side by side. He will not be, and the GoDaddy number 10 machine takes the lead over Winstead. And now Chad Winstead looks to be just a bit behind. He's going to be right behind Kenny, as a matter of fact, with now the 93 machine of Justin Gibbs pulling up to the scene as we have Lawrence Tesweski Jr. coming to the chat. Thank you for stopping by, and we are already getting things underway for the first time this year. And a little bit of a hasty preparation. We were not sure this race was going to be aired and broadcasted, but nonetheless, we bring it to you, and what a great race it's been so far. Clean, green, 2 out of 30, and Matthew Rodriguez leads Justin Gibbs there. The 51 machine now out in front, pushing to the limit. And the edge, he's going to be behind the 57. Now going to be the man who's going to be able to lead the second lap with Casey Heschel right behind him, pushing him down to the stripe. And everyone roars into the series of turns, the first and second. Here at Daytona International Speedway, everyone holding it on straight. Let's ride on board with Matthew Rodriguez and see the rear view camera up close and personal. And you can see he's got the bumper of Casey Heschel right behind him. Right now, they're all laying back to try to make sure they make it to the end of the race. No faster pairs in this series. If you want to be smart and you want to race calmly, if you're going to be able to make it to that final stretch in this series. The If you want to make it, you're going to have to race it with respect. And Heschel on the rear end right now, not making a move, knowing he's got to be respectful to make something happen. And later on, as he's now got one driver going to the outside, that's Justin Gibbs trying to make it happen on the high side. Going on board with Justin Gibbs here, the 93 machine on the high side at 5th gear right now. And he is pushing it as hard as he can find it. The driver of the 93 now leading over the remainder of the field. Chad Winstead up on the high side. The 93 has the edge over the remainder of these drivers. Rodriguez there as well. And the 93 leads the 34 as the 4th lap is already underway and everyone's been able to make it so far. No incidents, no calamity, no chaos. Just a calm, straight up race so far between every one of these drivers and keeping it respectful before we head to the final segment of this race. 4 laps in out of 30. A lot of time to see who's going to be able to make it up front, who's going to be in the back of the pack in this race. So with 14 drivers in this duel, you got to be respectful about it, and you got to make sure you count your laps correctly and make sure you have every moment correctly calculated and correctly used, because you don't utilize your time properly, you are going to be in the short end of the stick and the back end of the grid as Justin Gibbs leads by several car lengths on the inside line. And with Gibbs seeing that the sun is setting here at Daytona, still a lot of time. By the time this duel is over, I believe the sun will already be entirely set as Winstead now being pushed by Kendall Kerr across the stripe. It could be next time by is the 5 machine. It appears to be Kenny Brooks in the 54, but it's Dylan Clark now making his moves in the 5 as we've seen him for the first time this series. Making a great first impression here as he is now up into the 3rd spot. It is going to be pushed by Winstead. Kendall Kerr making that run. He still tries to hold on. It's still going to be 3 cars on the inside line making their move. Justin Gibbs in 4th. These top 3 guys pulling away from the remainder of this show as they all go down into the 2nd and 3rd turns following the run with the back straightaway here. And they all dial it down through the back straightaway. They're pushing at about 190 miles an hour as fast as they can get it. And they know that time is of the essence here at Daytona. Out of 30. And everyone going to be able to keep it clean. It looks like one to the wall. That will be Robert Kenny. And he's going to be all the way to the back here. And losing a lot of time. Kenny is. And I believe he might be able to lose the draft there. Not good at all. Looks like he won't be able to keep up with these guys. And it's still led by Chad Winstead. Winstead has had a great hold on this show so far. And they are trying to get up front in this duel. Trying to get that pole position. They slowly but surely move on to the remainder of this race. 7 laps in out of 30. It's all about being delicate with your time, making sure that every moment, every move is worth it. And these guys seem to be able to manage that quite well so far. Chad Winstead out in front, Kendall Kerr right behind him, and Terry Brooks with the ASC Services Supply sponsorship is right there as well. And a lot of great drivers looking to put a great race together as coming down to the line once again. I believe Chad Winstead will have this one in the bag. A great run. He'll be able to make it and still held on by the driver of the 34. Chad Winstead, Kendall Kerr, they're all holding on quite nicely as now it's Dylan Petit in 3rd and Brad Kress side by side with Terry Brooks in position number 4. And as they all hold on, they all keep it in the grips. They're almost a third of the way through this first duel, and that is how fast time flies here at Daytona if you keep it straight and you keep it clean. As Winstead has been able to hold on with a dominating grip, nobody has challenged him just yet. And while there is still a chance for people to challenge him, it looks like it is not going to happen in the near future. Delicate racing thus far in Daytona. We don't see an awful lot of this, but right now we are seeing it in the best form. Clean, calculated, and Chad Winstead hasn't had to calculate all too much as he's led almost every single one of these laps, 9 out of 30. And a great crowd tuning in for the first Highline Racing League race of this season. And if you want to chat, be sure to subscribe to the channel for at least a minute. You'll be eligible to chat whenever you want, wherever you want on this track. Whenever it happens, be able to be the first one to chat about your favorite drivers. Right now, Dylan Petit takes the lead over the remainder of the pack, and it is going to be Casey Heschel in 2nd, moving him with the 49, pushing the 31. Now out in front, a Toyota Camry for the first time all night long. And Heschel, a man on his own right now when it comes to manufacturers. A lot of Chevys, a lot of Fords. Matthew Rodriguez way back there isn't a Toyota, but now Dylan Petit on his own with no teamwork there. pushing himself up to the front, and now having a push to keep him up there. And how about Matthew Rodriguez there? Clark, the high side, not doing all too much here at Daytona. These guys are getting single file already. And it looks like patience is the name of the game here. Not a lot of guys proving themselves as aggressive in this race so far. Terry Brooks going to be hung out as well. So it's all going to come down to who's going to be able to hold on as a patient driver rather than those who go for the limit as soon as they can push it. And it's still led by Dylan Petit with Casey Heschel right behind him. 21 laps remaining here, and they are holding on quite nicely. And Petit, now your race leader by a decent margin. They're all about a car length away from one another. The 49 trying to hold on to the 31 as Chad Winstead in the 34 slowly but surely gains in with Kendall Kerr behind him, Brad Preston, Matthew Rodriguez in 6th, and Dylan Clark in 7th. Justin Gibbs is in the 8th spot, and Terry Brooks is in 9th, Corey Blevins in 10th, and Scott Zellner there with him in 11th, and it looks like Kenny Brooks down in that second pack as well. Roberto Ramirez on his lonesome, and Robert Kenny in a similar position. He's about half a lap down already in that number 10 machine. Dylan Petit leads the way, however, and he's putting on a great show while he does it. Chad Winstead in 2nd, Kendall Kerr in 3rd, and Brad Kress in 4th. Let's ride on board with the guy in the middle of the pack here. How do we see what's going on with the driver of that number 5 machine in Dylan Clark, our debut for this event? Give it just a moment to hear the throttle inputs there. You can see it was a full throttle for just a moment, then he gets off the pedal as soon as he gets up to Rodriguez there, and the 51 machine gets a bit of a challenge, but now it's going to be a big run by Dylan Clark on his lonesome. He's only got a bit of help from the driver, the 93, Justin Gibbs, and Gibbs not able to do all too much with it. The 51 might have to have the 5 slot in right behind him, but still, Dylan Petit, Chad Winstead, and Kendall Kerr. Top 3 has been stable lap after lap, nobody challenging them with 19 laps to go already. And this is the thing about racing smart at Daytona. The laps can just wind down as fast as you want them to go. And these guys know it, because the driver of the 31 machine is just holding off on the top of the here and making sure the laps wind down. Tick-tock goes the clock. 18 laps to go here. 13 laps in already. And this race has only been a total of 16 minutes. How about that? As we have been live since the moment these guys got on the grid here, and qualifying for this event, unfortunately not going to be telecasted. IORA Cup Series went just a bit too long, and Okayama, an incredible track for these guys. They pushed it to the limit, but now Daytona, it's all about driving to get a great grid spot, as these races determine the starting grid for the event that happens next Thursday. The season opener at Daytona could be the one everyone is waiting for. And these guys slowly but surely hold on, making sure that they will go to the end of this perhaps final lap in this duel and make it to the checkered flag all right. Ending up there if you want to get the victory in the duels and eventually get the victory in the main event, the 15th season of this series. And so far, Dylan Petit representing quite nicely for Toyota, and his team doing a great job now. Trap House Racing up front, and it's the Petit machine out in front of the remainder of the field. Chad Winstead is in 2nd, Kendall Kerr is in 3rd, and Matthew Rodriguez is in the 4th spot. Justin Gibbs, position number 5 with Dylan Clark in 6th, and Terry Brooks in the 7th spot. Now he's going to fall down to 8th as Casey Heschel gets right by him. Dylan Petit in the 1st position, Chad Winstead in 2nd, Kendall Kerr in 3rd, Matthew Rodriguez in 4th, and it looks like Justin Gibbs is in the 5th spot now, and Dylan Clark goes to position number 6. And these guys up front have just been holding on conservatively, and it looks like Kendall Kerr, one of those guys just waiting. As you can see, this is the onboard view of the driver of the number 21 machine, and Kendall Kerr just laying back right now, making sure he's still in the pack and not getting shuffled out at all. As he waits lap after lap for things to happen, perhaps it all gets a little more intense. It looks like it's all about playing it nice and smooth for any driver right now. They all roll slowly but surely here in Daytona. They all wait for something to happen. Perhaps a big one, perhaps they're all going to get to the stripe intact. As 16 laps to go becomes 15 laps to go, we've already passed the halfway point with Dylan Petit your race leader as they go double file. And now it looks like Casey Heschel leading a charge on that outside line. The 49 machine has the 23 in sight as well. Justin Gibbs in the 93 and Kendall Kerr there on the outside. He's going to be pushed there, and now it's all about intensity. How are these guys going to be able to hold on time after time, position after position? Kendall Kerr to the inside line for quite a while, goes up high and tries to make the risk work out in his favor. And the driver of the 21 machine now makes the move to go to the lead. Kendall Kerr now out front, and he's going to be side by side and barely clears Dylan Petit. Now Casey Heschel has the edge, and Heschel making a great move, and he's out front with Kendall Kerr now in the inside lines lead, and Terry Brooks right behind him in the 23. And Casey Heschel has had a lot of pace. We've seen it last season. We especially saw it last season in certain races such as Gateway. A very competitive driver with a great spirit when it comes to racing. And we'll see whether or not he's able to hold on right now, because he certainly has a lot of movement to make in the pack, a lot of room. As they're coming up on the first driver to be lapped, that will be Robert Kenny. And slowly but surely, racing here. They're going to come up on the first lap driver. Casey Heschel up high, already avoiding those in the back of the field. They're already lapping, and it looks like it will be a smooth, easy ride to get through the first lap set of cars, as the second pack is still in the vicinity of the camera there, and they're going to pass that first lap car. Robert Kenny one lap down, and almost certainly going to be in the back row of the grid, with the exception of those who do not show up for tonight's event. They will be sent to the back of the pack regardless of what happens. And Casey Heschel now has some pressure on the inside line, and that inside line driver will be Brad Crest in the 29 machine. And Crest knowing he has to make something happen now or never if he wants to make his move. We are 5 subscribers away from 700. If you enjoyed the action, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We greatly want to make sure we get to 700 tonight. If it's not happening, it's all good. The viewers are the reason we are here night after night. So if you enjoy this broadcast, leave a like and subscribe. It's always greatly appreciated. And it always helps us support these incredible drivers as they put on yet another incredible race. As you can see, Brad Crest leads with a great margin now over the outside line. But Casey Heschel now fading back, while Kendall Kerr getting closer with a dozen laps remaining here. Let's take a brief lap to crank it up uninterrupted. Thus far, we've gone every lap without a caution. It will now be 11 laps to go in total before we get to the end of this race. And these guys are watching as the sun sets at Daytona. An intense look in the background. It's a sea of orange and yellow and a bit of bright white. As we look in the background and the backdrop of this race, the night sky, it is glowing. And Dylan Petit currently leads the way with Brad Crest down on the inside line. And Crest is currently holding the torch for Blacktop Racing. And it looks like Chad Winstead now going to be pushing into the 34 machine as Petit gets about a car length's advantage. 11 laps to go here. The Daytona Duels, duel number 1. And Dylan Petit has had a stranglehold on this race. Chad Winstead, he's been up front for the good majority of it as well. And those two seem to be the guys to beat, as Winstead now third on the inside line, and Petit the overall leader. He has 10 laps remaining. In duel number 1, this race has been going swimmingly so far. It's not even 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and we are already almost through our first duel of the night. Dylan Petit holding on. He is still in the lead. Double file. Looks like Kendall Kerr, Matthew Rodriguez. Dylan Petit is going to see that his teammate is in the mix there. Chad Winstead is as well. Terry Brooks, Justin Gibbs, and the like. They are all moving quite nicely as Matthew Rodriguez is coming up on a driver like Roberto Ramirez, the next guy to be put a lap down. The Ally number 42 machine just along for the ride right now. Nothing you can do without a yellow. Is there now double file? A good majority of this main pack is indeed. And now Brad Crest getting the move from the driver of the 51 machine, the 51 and 31 moving up front. And Daytona, the high bench, right through the front straightaway. Now 9 laps to go as they catch up to yet another lap car, and that lap car is Roberto Ramirez. Ramirez, unfortunately, losing a lot of time when it comes down to the later stretch of this race. Brad Crest, though, is your leader. And it looks like now the 31 machine is still there. The inside line loses a lot of momentum as a result of Roberto Ramirez being there on the high side. And nothing wrong there from Roberto Ramirez, but it looks like the outside line gets slowed down as a reaction. Him being up on the track. 9 laps remaining. Dylan Petit gets a shot on the outside, and now he tries to clear the inside. It looks like he won't be able to clear him, but Kendall Kerr now going to have to push Dylan Petit out to the lead. And Blacktop Racing working with Team Trap House quite well here. It's all about keeping yourself in the race, though. Not a lot of specific teamwork, to say the least. But as it's seen, lap after lap, these guys are just trying to hold on. Now it is 8 laps remaining, and nobody on the level of Dylan Petit right now. Of course, on the inside line, he has that advantage. The outside line has a lot of momentum when it gets built up, and now it looks to be a bit stronger than we saw it beforehand in the laps prior. And now, Kendall Kerr gets on the move here. And look at that, Dylan Petit, Kendall Kerr, the 31, the 21, and the 51 in the mix as well. A series of double-digit numbers, all working with one another quite nicely. And it looks like now down to the inside line, Kendall Kerr goes. And look at him go as Dylan Petit now in second, chasing the 21. And this is all for all the marbles on the qualifying grid for the next week's race at Daytona. And the Daytona Duel is going to come at you live as 8 laps to go. It's going to be a great showdown from here on out. 7 remain now as Kendall Kerr leads over Dylan Petit. The top 2 guys, the 21 and the 31, down to the inside line. The outside line led by the 51 of Matthew Rodriguez. And as you can see, coming down the back straight with the momentum carried by the outside line keeps them intact. It's not going to work all too much. It looks like the inside line still has the edge over the remainder of this field. And you can see Chad Winstead goes up high just a bit there. Brad Kress still in third. Dylan Petit in second. And Kendall Kerr is still your leader of this race. A great job by the driver of the 21 machine as he still holds on. 7 becomes 6 laps to go. Justin Gibbs, one of the guys in the back of the pack. Let's go on board with him and see what he has to do. He's certainly going to need to move if he wants to get up front there. He is in a sea of drivers. Nobody's gone 3 wide just yet. 25 laps in. Still very conservative driving. Everyone holding on in 5th gear. It looks like Gibbs laying back just a bit, not on the rear bumper of Chad Winstead. As we look to the outside line and look at Terry Brooks' rear end. And we're going to actually check his rear view mirror and see what he's up to. We see a bit of a shuffle here. A lot of guys going to lose spots. A lot of guys going to gain them. And now it's nose to nose, bumper to bumper, tail to tail as Matthew Rodriguez gets a big push from Casey Heschel. And now down to the inside line, Brad Kress almost escapes the racing line there for only a moment. And not a lot of these guys have gone aggressive so far. 5 laps remaining in the first duel. And of course, this race does not count for points positions except for one. I believe a playoff point is being handed out to the duel winner, no matter which duel it is. And Kendall Kerr now leading leader. He's got the driver Dylan Petit right behind him, and Matthew Rodriguez there as well. 5 laps remain. And still, Kendall Kerr is in the mix here, and he's got a great shot at getting this victory in that number 21 machine. Matthew Rodriguez on the high side now is the opportunity as well in the Finks number 51 machine. And Casey Heschel has been pushing Rodriguez almost all race long. Heschel finding help wherever it comes. Wherever line he's on, he's just going to have to push him. And he's been pushing greatly in the 51. 4 laps to go, 3 wide in the back. Chad Winstead getting fun around the mix there. And it looks like Winstead going to have to hang on to the back of the field. Roberto Ramirez holding on to these lead lap guys as Casey Heschel gets a bit squirrely in the outside line, losing a lot of composure. And now Dylan Petit goes up with his teammate there. The 31 and 51 working together for the first time all race long. This could be a big deal. And we will see whether or not this comes up with anything. As the 21 machine now on the inside line with his teammate, and the 31 and 51 teammates working together as well. It's teammates in the first 2 rows of the field here. It could be gridlock for anyone outside of it who doesn't have a partner to work with. And 3 laps remaining this time by here at Daytona. And the 51 machine leading the way, a number change from the 57 looks like to the 51 on the car there for Matthew Rodriguez. And the 57, he is still recorded as according to iRacing. However, he is absolutely the 51, and we'll have that edited. It looks like the league is not edited just yet. iRacing not having him as the 51. However, the paint scheme shows he is indeed a number switcher, and that switch number bringing together a great run so far. Kendall Kerr on the inside line trying to make something happen there with Brad Kress. And down to the inside line, Kress and Kerr go. They're putting together a great show, looping it down to the inside line. The inside line has the advantage of less distance traveled. However, the momentum on that outside line always happens to bring these guys back intact. 3 laps to go, becomes 2 laps for unsettled racing. And as the sun has almost entirely set at Daytona, it's still a double file procedure between the 21 and the 51 here. They're doing a great job working with one another quite well. Brad Kress is in second here, although it looks like Matthew Rodriguez's outside line is fading back, and he have the edge over Kendall Kerr when it comes down to the momentum on the back straightaway. And Kendall Kerr is not going to contemplate leaving his drafting partner here, a Brad Kress, for even a second, because the Blacktop Racing boys, now they are back together with one another, they're just gonna have to keep moving no matter what happens. As it looks like down to the inside line, down to the apron, Kendall Kerr's gonna go, and he's gonna lose a lot of momentum. Now, coming to the stripe, it's for all the marbles. 1 lap to go. Rodriguez leads him through. And this is where it gets intense. The 51, the 31 able to hold on to lead for now. Dylan Petit still with him. Casey Heschel in third. Everyone in the back is shuffled. And now it's all about getting organized and getting up front before you make that last bonsai move for the victory. Rodriguez has his teammate, but Casey Heschel goes with whoever he pleases, and Rodriguez blocks. Heschel gives a big bump, and Dylan Petit gonna try to side draft to the inside here. Dylan Petit losing a lot of momentum. Rodriguez, Bear, Casey Heschel gonna try to turn him. It looks like they go down to the apron. Nothing happens there. 3 wide in the back. Terry Brooks goes high. Kendall Kerr in the wall. And coming down to the stripe, this time by, it's Rodriguez. And it looks like the 57 machine will indeed take the stripe and win the first duel at Daytona. And nobody on his level there. The block was perfect. And Matthew Rodriguez comes home your race winner. And a great showing put on by the driver of the 51 machine, the 57 according to iRacing. But the 57 last season becomes the 51 here, and he wins the first race in the 15th season of the Highline Racing League, and the session has already cleared out. And that is it. The second duel will get underway from here. And Matthew Rodriguez, you win the first duel of the season. How do you feel going into the remainder of this one? Because you are lining up front for the main event next Thursday.
Oh, God, I forgot. I didn't realize. Oh, no. Oh, I'm on pole. That's scary. I'm ecstatic. That's it. This car is extremely fun, extremely wiggly. But man, does it put on a good show.
And a great show put on indeed. The work that you put with Dylan Petit there, able to keep you up front, but it looks like a big shunt there by Casey Heschel. You had to negate that and keep yourself in the mix. And was that the ticket to victory?
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you, if I'm in those last lap situations, I'd either want Dylan Petit or Casey Heschel behind me.
And it looks like both of them able to push you up front there. So 30 laps, no cautions, and it looks like everyone racing it clean with respect till the end. Do we expect to see that in the second duel?
I'm crossing my fingers. There's a lot of good talent in that second duel. I'm hoping we see a lot of the same.
We're hoping to see that as well. And the main event is going to be next week. Of course, qualifying yourself on the pole position. Looks like you didn't even notice it there. Winning the duel nonetheless, and I believe grabbing a playoff point at the end of the day. So a great start to the 15th season of the Highline Racing League here for you. How do you feel going into the main event?
I think more nervous now knowing that I'm going to be on the front row.
Well, how about that? Either way, starting up front. So any final thoughts before we drag you back in as Duel 2 is going to begin?
I'm going to grab a bag of popcorn and just kind of watch this Duel 2 unfold.
Well, how about that? Matthew Rodriguez winning the first duel of the season. Thank you for your time. Rodriguez going to be back on his way. How we getting the driver who finished in the second spot for Misfit Mafia. Casey Heschel in the 49 second on that first duel. So how do you feel going into the main event, and how was that duel for you?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. I don't think I've had that much fun in a while. I was able to get behind Kendall, Matt, Dylan, and just shove them out to the lead and kind of stay there. And so I would just drop back, have a little bit of fun, and try to get the train going around the top, but nobody wanted to do it with me.
Green flag, green flag.
And as the green flag goes out for the second duel led by Scott Wheeler, nonetheless able to come home in second, and it looks like that push with you and the driver, the 51, of course, and Matthew Rodriguez able to send you home, and you were able to draft him all the way to the end. So how was it working with these guys for the first time this season and getting back to grips with the guys in this league?
It was great. I honestly didn't think a few of them were going to be able to handle the kind of pushes I was doing, because I was pretty good, and they held on to it. And I was gonna try to work my way around Matt, but I figured that I had worked with him up until that point, so I figured I would just push him to the win instead of potentially wrecking both of us.
And making it safe there. Better safe than sorry is the next week's event. Will, of course, be the main event at Daytona, our season opener. So going into that, I believe he will be lined up in the third position. So coming toward that event, we got a week's time before then. How do you feel as we get started in just a week's time with the big event at Daytona? I haven't seen it so far with you guys racing there. Season 14 started at Auto Club, so SuperSpeedway affairs. And how's it going to feel for you in the 49?
I think it's going to go good. I know this bunch has been really good at SuperSpeedway Racing. I think we'll have one or two yellows here or there, but other than that, nothing big. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm ready to get back going with this group. I don't know that I'll make the entire season. I'll make the ones I'm in fun, that's for sure.
And hopefully you want to see you in more races, as many as you're able to make the 49 machine of Casey Heschel, hoping to make it fun, and a fun finish there, able to push Matthew Rodriguez up there and finishing second in the first duel. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We're going to drag him back into his voice chat there, and we are going to have him on his way. Let's get one final interview there, and Brad Kress going to be the driver who finished in the third spot in that first duel. And that's going to be our final interview before we get back to play-by-play commentary here, as we want to hear the thoughts from every driver in the mix here. Brad Kress, the driver of the 29, finishing third in his first duel. And how do you feel going into next week, starting so up front? And we do see your mic is moving there, but Brad Kress, we don't have a copy on you. Once again, the Fireball Talks NASCAR live booth. How are you feeling after that first duel? And this one might be on our end. We still don't hear you there. I'm not sure if something's going on with your microphone. We can tell your microphone's moving, that's for sure. We have your volume all the way up, so I'm not sure what's going on. There we go. Brad Kress, 29 machine, first duel, you finish in third. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good about it. Hopefully starting up front next week, we'll stay out of the big one.
And certainly everyone trying to avoid the big one here, as Daytona always known for big incidents. But in the first duel, and so far in the second, nobody has wrecked thus far. And it looks like a lot of respect so far in the duel. So how does it feel getting back in the seat, getting activated with some new guys and a lot of returning guys for the 15th season?
It feels pretty good to get back into it. I haven't been on here in a few days or so, and I'm just racing around all these guys. I like everybody in the league. Pretty good friends with a lot of them, so I'm glad to be back with them.
And certainly everyone getting back together to third position here, so we saw a lot of teamwork there with Kendall Kerr when it came down to the later stages of the race. Do you think teamwork will be the way to go in the main event, as we certainly saw a lot of guys working together with whoever they had at the tail end of that first duel?
Yeah, I think the having someone with you to draft, that's really the only way to go in these cars, is once you pull out a line and you lose the draft, I mean, it's like you throw a parachute out the back. And I didn't mean to get into Kendall on they're coming to the white flag, I think it was. I was getting pushed from behind, and I was out of the throttle and wasn't slowing down.
And either way, still going to be able to make it up in the podium there. Kendall Kerr did lose a lot of spots there, but nonetheless, we are still looking forward to the points-paying race, and you guys still have a chance to rebound there. So any final thoughts before we leave this one off?
No, I just want to thank you guys for coming back on board with us. You guys do an awesome job, and just glad to be back racing.
Absolutely. Brad Kress, glad to be back, and he finishes third in his first duel this season. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, sir.
We're dragging right back into the voice chat there. The 15th season getting underway, and these guys are getting intense. Scott Wheeler has led every lap so far, and right behind him, it's been Caleb Morrissey all the way through. And John Peterson now is right behind him in the 17 machine, as we see a lot of guys slowly but surely working their way up to the front of the field. A 14-car duel once again, and Wheeler looking to make it happen once more. Last season's champion in that very paint scheme, the 97 machine, had one hell of a season, and he is slowly but surely working his way up to being one of the greatest in this series. That's for certain. Last season, dominant in the next gen, and he was one of the quickest to adapt, as everyone's still adapting to the pack here. Jason Harris in the 88 machine going to get just a bit of a shunt there, but the drivers were right behind him. It looks like it was going to be Ryan Potter in the mix there in the 99 machine. Andrew Baker in the 43 are right beside him, and Chance Duckworth back on his way in the number 5 machine. It looks like the 28 on timing and scoring, but the 5 is on the car. Shades of Kyle Larson for the Hendrick cars, number 5 there. Scott McCarris there as well in the 65, currently 7th on the books, as Scott Wheeler leads him back to the stripe once again. 24 becomes 23 laps to go here at Daytona International Speedway. And Caleb Morrissey still right behind the driver of the 6. He is the 6 machine, and he's laid all the way back in the 97 all race long. Not any pressure when it comes to passing, and giving Scott Wheeler a great opportunity to keep it rolling cleanly and in the green flag, as they are moving at about 190 miles an hour, exiting the back straightaway. It's going to be a plane flying right off the back straightaway at Daytona International Speedway. These guys are soaring, even if they aren't lifting off the ground. And you can see the 97 is on a tear here. He's led every lap so far, 8 laps in out of 30, and with 27 laps to go, we are going to take our Craig It Up here for TrackCam22.com, the best cameras on iRacing. So we will be back uninterrupted. Let's Craig It Up here at Daytona. And that cranked it up. What a crank it up it was. 19 laps to go. And still, got with the lead from Caleb Morrissey. These guys have been up front all race long. While it's a short race, everyone playing it calm, playing it consistent, making sure they get to the end of this one. 12 laps already. 19 laps to go. These guys are winding down the laps, just making sure they make it all the way. No caution so far in either duel. And we have already gotten through our first. This is our second and final on the night. Scott Wheeler still leads Caleb Morrissey, John Peterson, Chance Duckworth, Scott McCarthy. Dalton Beer with Tyler Rush now going to be going side by side with them as they're side by side following the 4th and 5th position. Double file. It looks like Dalton Beer is going to go in the Trap House 98 machine. Now the 38 machine, my apologies, although it looks like Trap House only represented by one tonight. That's Dylan Body in the 26th. And Strawberry Kid 59 coming into the chat to say Dylan Clark in 4th. Great run indeed for the driver Dylan Clark on debut. A great run to get him started. 698 subscribers, 2 away from 700. And we hope to hit it tonight live on stream. So if you want to make that happen, be sure to subscribe. If you enjoy the action, we are oh so close to our goal of 700 of the night. And it will be a dream to make it happen live on stream, because this race has been one worth watching. 2 races for the price and for the admission of one, and a great show put on so far. Scott Wheeler still leading with Caleb Morrissey right behind him, and John Peterson in the 3rd position with 17 car with 17 laps to go, trying to pounce on the leaders here as we are oh so close to the checkered flag for the 2nd time tonight. One driver going to go down all the way onto the apron there. That looked to be Adam Bozzi. Bozzi going to go all the way down to the back of the pack here, still at the draft. He's going to be much off the pace compared to the guys in front of him. Able to hold on just slightly. Ryan Potter right in front of him. Andrew Baker there. Jason Harris, Dalton Beer, Colton Gardner. And these guys are still able to hold on. One guy going to be blinking in the back of the pack. The remainder of the field looks to be fine. As Scott Wheeler still holding on with Caleb Morrissey right behind him. Coming down the stripe this time through. It looks to still be Scott Wheeler. Your leader with 16 laps left. Toby Wedgel looks to be way on the pack here. The 52 machine, the Monster Energy Design, looks to be way off. He's about 48 seconds behind the leaders, and Scott Wheeler slowly but surely gaining in on him. Could be the first and only guy lapped in this pack, as everyone else is still in contention for the race victory. If we get a wider shot, Toby Wedgwood might be able to show up on the leader's perspective of this broadcast. We will see whether or not he's going to be lapped within the next lap or so. It looks to be about 48 seconds off, and these guys are going around the circuit at 47 seconds flat. And there Toby Wedgwood is, and it looks like they're going to be able to get right by him next time, or this time by. It's coming down to the start-finish line. They will be able to move. The top 2, top 3, top 4, top 5 guys go, and they all go right by Wedgwood. Stay to the inside. And a few guys are going to have to middle of the track there, going to be a bit riskier as Wedgwood stays on the apron there and trying to hold on. The 52 machine is challenging for these guys in the back. Colton Gardner certainly going to be held up in that number 40 machine, and it's evident as Wedgwood now going to be forced off the apron. And a bit of a slow car there on the track. Everyone going to be even setups. Wedgwood does not appear to have damage, but still not a quick car. That 52 machine is. 97 still leading with the 6 right behind him. John Peterson is in 3rd, and Chance Duckworth in 4th with Scott McCarris in 65 machine, position number 5. Scott Wheeler, position number 1, leading the way with 14 now laps remaining. These guys are winding down the clock more than halfway through. It's been the Morrissey combo with Scott Wheeler. Morrissey has not led any laps so far, but Scott Wheeler has, and the Wheeler-Morrissey combo has been dominant so far tonight. Nobody getting in the race. Now 14 laps remaining. Absolutely a dominant run by these 2 drivers, 2 Ford Mustangs, then a Chevy right behind him, and John Peterson. So it's going to be 2 Fords and a Chevy with a Toyota only a few spots back on him. And that Toyota will be Dylan Body holding the torch for Trap House Racing, as a good majority of these guys are all Ford and all Chevy. So we have 14 now, we're going to be 13 laps to go coming to the stripe. The top 4 guys are still breaking away here. It is still led by last season's champion in Scott Wheeler, hoping to defend his title quite nicely, winning his 2nd duel. And it's going to be a great accomplishment to keep himself up front of the pack. He's been able to manage it quite nicely. Nobody's attempted to pass on him thus far. And with 13 remaining, a baker's dozen to settle the show here at the Great American Raceway, the World Center Raceway itself. Daytona International Speedway. You want to win here almost more than any place else on the schedule. And Caleb Morrissey still holding on to Scott Wheeler is still your leader with 13 laps remaining. Still putting together a great effort. It's going to be side by side. Tyler Rush and Dylan Body for only a moment. And 12 laps remain for the men up front. The 97 machine leads them through once again as they're 3 wide in the back of the pack. No wreck just yet. Everyone able to hold on. Colton Gardner there, 3 wide. It's going to be Scott McCarris. And Tyler Rush going to be able to get in the wall. Scrapes it just a bit. He's still in the draft though. So he shouldn't be all too lost when it comes to speed. And a slot right back in behind Andrew Baker as a few guys are now starting to shovel out pretty hard. Could be John Peterson keeping himself in the mix, but now going a bit further back in the pack. Top 2 guys are running away with this one now. Dylan Body in third, as the remainder of the field is now shuffling itself up, and positions are being swapped out time and time again. 12 laps to go. We come 11 laps to go as we enter the 20th lap of competition here at Daytona. And these guys up front kept it up front. Everyone else has continued to shuffle. As we look in the middle of the pack once again, you can see they're double filed, but these guys up front, Morrissey, Wheeler, now Body, and Ryan Potter, they're still a single file, and nobody has stopped just yet. It looks like an indomitable run between the 97 and the 6. And down the back straightaway, the 17 machine of John Peterson losing a lot of time. They're getting shuffled once again. They're going to go 3 wide. They're going to go big time contact to the wall. One around. Scott McCarris mounts a multi-car incident. First caution of the duels. And it happens with 11 laps to go. And Jason Harris absolutely involved in that one. Let's take an instant replay and find out just what happened there. And let's see what we can find out. See what we can observe, as a matter of fact, as we take it back a bit more. And take an instant replay. And Scott McCarris definitely involved in this one. The 65 down to the back of the field. Toby Wedgwood getting a saving grace here, as it looks like the 88 going to touch Chance Duckworth. They're all going to go big time wide, and it looks like the 88 gets involved there once again. Jason Harris with Scott McCarris. Then Tyler Rush gets involved. Andrew Baker turned. And that is the wreck in itself. Multiple cars involved, and that brings out the first caution of the night. The second duel, 20 laps in, now 21, and that is caution number 1. Now 10 laps remaining. It is absolutely the night here in Daytona. And what a great race, or what a great 2 races it has been. We have a bit of time, so we're going to fill it with a quick commercial break here, associate break, to thank all the people we work with to make sure that this series goes on week after week, no matter what rain or shine. We got to thank them immensely, and we will be right back. You won't miss a thing under green live on FTN. We'll just take a quick break and be right back.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
As we send it back to live feed, how about we get an interview from the drivers on the racing surface? How about the driver of the 97 machine in Scott Wheeler, last season's champion, as a matter of fact, leading this race so far? How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. We're just kind of buying our time on the bottom, I think, but just getting a good feel for next week and seeing what the cars can and can't do.
And 22 laps in right now, going to be 23 next time by, and should be 24 when we go green. We've been seeing an awful lot of teamwork between you and Caleb Morrissey. Of course, not a teamwork per se, but you guys holding in line, running down the laps, and it seems like you two able to work pretty well together. The outside line not forming just yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. I think you kind of saw a little bit of it in the duels or in the previous one, that when you get a run, you can get going. But I think we've just held pretty solidly on the bottom the whole time and kept momentum up, so that's kind of the key.
And momentum seems to be key. That is for certain as we go 1 to green this time by. So we're going to leave you back to it. Any final thoughts before we get back to this restart?
Just stay steady and hope to be here at the end.
And how about that for Scott Wheeler, last season champion, hoping to put on a show once more. And that is going to be his interview. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys.
There we have it. Scott Wheeler back on his way, leading this way. And it is going to be Caleb Morrissey right behind him. Colton Gardner now in third. And Dylan Body in the fourth spot with 8 laps remaining. Time has ticked down, and now we are in the final stretch here at Daytona. It's anyone's race as we head back to the green flag action. And as we take a brief look at the field, as it stands, all 14 drivers are not on the surface. It looks like Andrew Baker and Tyler Rush are down and out. Jason Harris 1 lap down. And now it appears to be only 10 drivers on the lead lap fighting for this dual victory. As Wedgwood and Duckworth roll up to the pack, the pace car is in, and we will go green once again at Daytona. Scott Wheeler leads them through, inside and outside, led by the 4 horsemen. We're back to the front. And the drivers up front, they know that they've got to keep it intense. As Morrissey blocks the high side, it's going to be Wheeler. And back up front now, a reversed order. It's going to be between Morrissey and Scott Wheeler here, and they will fight to the limit. And we'll see what they're going to be capable of here. Dylan Body on the high side as everyone continues to roll on back to the stripe. Body in the wall, going to be able to save it there. Big time incident, big lick, but he's still going quite hard as John Peterson going to be pushing him now. And 1 overtime attempt if they need it. These guys are already getting pretty intense already. It's going to be a bit quicker than the last duel we saw where those guys were waiting just a bit longer. As Dylan Body on the high side now has a big run. He's there with John Peterson, and they're still pushing to the limit as down to the inside goes to 99. Ryan Potter, his teammate, and Body's got some help on the inside, and now they're going to be able to make a move. And John Peterson on the high side there, as it looks like Team Trap House represented quite well, first and second now, with Caleb Morrissey and the 4 horsemen, third and fourth with Scott Wheeler in that fourth spot. 6 laps remain here at Daytona, and blocking big time, it's going to be the driver to the 99. Potter laces one that's real aggressive, not going to be able to make that one stick though, as Dylan Body still holding on strong. 3 wide there in the middle. John Peterson going to be right in between it, and they're all holding on though. And Peterson now racing is about as aggressive as anyone has been all night long, as they are still 3 going down to what will be 5 laps to go. It looks like Wheeler is going to put Caleb Morrissey back out front. And Dylan Body now going to be on the inside fighting for the scraps of it as they battle back into the first and second. It's going to be the 4 horsemen, 2 of which now down to the inside and outside line, leading both of which is now going to be Adam Bozzi giving a great push to the driver of the 6, which is going to keep him in the way. Dylan Body and the multitude of drivers. Caution flag is out. This could be a green-white checker. And let's get an instant replay and find out what happened, as Dylan Body absolutely gets bodied there. And let's take a look. And it looks like Adam Bozzi there with John Peterson. Peterson comes right into Body. And that's how it wrote. The 5 machine of Duckworth gets a great run through. As you can see, Toby Wedgwood makes it back. Chance Duckworth there as well. And 5 laps remain as we have our second yellow of the night here. And this could send us into an overtime finish of epic proportions. Caleb Morrissey leads from his teammate and Scott Wheeler. Ryan Potter is in third and Dalton Beer is in fourth. And let's see how they roll from here as everyone gets back up with the pace car. It's Morrissey leading over Scott Wheeler and Ryan Potter in the third spot with 4 laps remaining. And there is a possibility this yellow does get shortened to have this one be a natural green-right checker. We'll see whether or not they choose to do that, although I believe they will not. So this might just count as our one and only attempt at a green-white checkered. And from there, we are done and done with 2 duels tonight. And we will have our grid set for the remainder of this week. And from there on out, we get to the show at Daytona, the main event, next week. Right now, though, continue to wait and continue to hold out. He who gets it done here in the World Center of Racing. And it looks like nobody going to go down pit road that time by. maybe some guys affected in that wreck, Will, and it looks like that is going to be the case. A few guys will be on pit road right now. John Peterson, Jason Harris, Tyler Rush, Andrew Baker, Toby Wedgwood, and it looks like the Colton Gardner machine all down on there as Caleb Morrissey still leads the way 1 lap to green.
Not going green.
And now it's going to become 2.
No green.
Now it looks like of all the drivers to be out, it looks like Ryan Potter, one of the few on his own right now, as his teammate looks to be going down on pit road. So Ryan Potter, 3rd position right now. How do you feel going into the 1 and I believe only overtime attempt?
I don't know, because these guys in front of me, I believe, are teammates. There's not a whole lot of clean cars left, so I'm really not sure what's going to happen here. But, yeah, we'll find out.
It's still a lot to find out. Teammates up front, but right now, the driver of the 99 machine, you are in 3rd, and it looks like your teammate of Dylan Body, you were in a voice chat with him, to say the least, is all the way in the back right now. So how's it going to be working with it on your own?
We'll find out. Like I said, I'm not really sure what these cars around me have. I know there's been a couple of big wrecks, so I'm not really sure what some of these cars have. But, like I said, hopefully we'll find out and have ourselves a chance here at the end.
Absolutely a chance you look to be having right now. Still a little bit of time to determine. It looks like 1 to green once again, so thank you for your time. Any final thoughts?
No, I'm just ready to go racing.
And there we have it, Ryan Potter ready to go racing. Thank you once again.
Yep, no problem.
And 2 laps to do it here. And we are getting ready for an exciting showdown to finish this one off and see who gets themselves into the top 3 spots in this duel and who eventually gets that outside pole position here at Daytona. Drivers, roll down once more. This could be it. Caleb Morrissey, Scott Wheeler, inside and outside. Green flag once again. It's now going to be 2 laps to go here in the World Settle Racing. Quite nicely, and it looks like Ryan Potter are going to be able to keep up only just a bit. Caleb Morrissey might be able to let Scott Wheeler slot in, and that it will be. Actually, the other way around. Wheeler tries to slot in, not going to be able to make it happen, so Morrissey goes high, and now Ryan Potter goes up to the inside. And now it's going to be double file, side by side, 2 rows deep there. The driver of that 6 machine has the edge right now. The inside not going to be able to make something happen as Dylan Body gets in the same line as Dalton Beer and his teammate in the 99. Everyone shuffled up, but now Caleb Morrissey out front. 2 laps to do it, and this could be all she wrote for any other driver. It looks like the 4 horsemen able to make something happen here. Scott Zellner in the first duel, but now these 2 up front in the second have something cooking. And 1 lap to go for Caleb Morrissey. Ryan Potter there on the inside line. It's going to be between Wheeler and Morrissey if things stay the same. No outside line has developed just yet. And down to the inside line, nobody is gone except for those who have been filed out. Everyone's been on the inside line to begin with. Dalton Beer getting shoveled out as well. Scott Wheeler goes to the quarter panel of his teammate there. Not sure what's going on, but they keep it together. And 1 to the high side. That's Ryan Potter. Dylan Body tries to move him. And it looks like that's going to be a teamwork moment gone wrong. Scott McCarr is going to be able to get up to him in the 65. Potter losing spots. Going to be a big wreck. Colton Gardner going to go around. But it looks like at the stripe, Morrissey, Wheeler, they're going to go side by side to the line here. Morrissey on the high side and Wheeler on the low end. Scott Wheeler takes it. Wheeler gets the outside pole for the main event at Daytona. And he gets it by 67 thousandths of a second. And that is your second duel. What a race there. And Scott Wheeler gets it done. And we're going to rewind it because this session is already going to be disabled. And we will go to the main event, which will not be part of this one. And look at that finish. Only able to get it by oh so much. And at the line, Wheeler comes home victorious by 67 thousandths at the tail end of it. Perfect timing for the driver of the 97 machine. The duels are over right now. And warm up on for the session, and it looks like that is it. What a show that was. Scott Wheeler, how do you feel after winning the second duel and eventually putting yourself up on the outside pole?
That's a good way to start the season. The last 2 restarts definitely gave us a good taste of how crazy it can be and kind of what the runs are. So that's something that we'll have to take a look at and, adjust for next week. But just a lot of good information grabbed from tonight, and we'll see how we can translate that into the first race of the season.
And absolutely able to come home on top here. A lot of teamwork there. And it looked like the tail end able to pull away with Caleb Morrissey. So how was it working together, making sure the car works well when bump drafting and pushing it to the limit?
It definitely takes the right person to be behind you, pushing you. And it kind of goes both ways. It takes the right person to lead you where you need to go. You can't see much when you're behind somebody here. So, I mean, you've got to use that car in front of you as your guide all the way down through the track and, keep it off the apron. But at the same time, I mean, you got to have a good guy that can push you. And Caleb was, I mean, that was some of the best pushing that I've seen, really. He was on me the whole time. And, you could really tell throughout the whole race.
Absolutely. You two were able to make it up front and keep it up front almost the entirety of this event. So going into next week, qualifying for next week goes, of course, these two races. How do you feel about the car and eventually your chances to win?
I feel good. You can't think too much about it going into a race like this. There's so many things that can happen. The race is long and you have runs and whatnot. So, like I said, we'll take a look at how things played out tonight and see what our strategy needs to be or what we want it to be. And, the big focus, I think, next week is keeping it clean throughout the majority of the race and being there at the end.
And absolutely being there at the end, the name of the game, and it looks like you were there at the end for certain. Scott Wheeler wins the second duel of tonight's event. Thank you for stopping by, and we hope to see you next week.
Sounds good, guys. I appreciate you, broadcasting this race. I want to thank my teammates, Caleb especially for pushing me, and Scott and Austin. Austin couldn't be here today, but got some good information. We'll pass it along to him, and we'll see what we can do next week.
And there we have it, Scott Wheeler winning the second duel. Thank you for the time.
Thanks, guys.
And four horsemen with a lot of success here. The driver of the 97 coming home on top in the second duel. The driver in second in duel number 2. His teammate in Caleb Morrissey. And what a race that was for the driver of the 6 machine, Morrissey. Second in the second duel. How do you feel after that one?
I feel great after that one. That's a good team practice right there for me and Wheeler. I wish Zellner would have drawn into our heat, but it is what it is. I think we learned a lot, and I think we're really looking forward to next week.
Absolutely getting all the notes prepared for next week. So how was it working with the Next Gen here at a Super Speedway and eventually working together with Scott Wheeler for almost the entirety of that race?
Yeah, just for being up front, I don't know how much we were particularly learning there, but once we lost the lead after that initial restart, we got to see what that was like in dirty air, and it really grabs you and it can really pull a lot of momentum out. So moves are going to get really quick and everyone's going to be super dicey. So normally our team strategy is kind of run way, way, way behind in the pack, almost to the point where we are purposely not even on the pack and kind of let the damage seek out itself. But we may have learned tonight that we could probably run up front and maybe stay out of trouble that way.
And it looks like staying out up front tonight was the way to stay out of trouble, but it looks like, of course, it's going to be double the field because these guys in the duel is going to combine for the total showdown next week. So how do you feel about the guys in Duel 1? How do you feel about these guys coming together for the 15th season of the Highline Racing League and our season opener coming, of course, in 7 days' time?
Stacked roster, and I think that Heat 1 in particular was pretty stacked out well. So I think a lot of what you saw in Heat 1 is pretty much going to set the tone for what the actual race is going to be like next week rather than the Heat 2. So yeah, we're looking really forward to that, and I really hope that we have a lot of momentum going into the season. Last season I struggled really, really hard to learn these cars, so hopefully we come back around to it and figure out some things, and maybe this season won't be so bad. At least I hope so.
And how about that? A lot of momentum going into this season. Caleb Morrissey, second on the board tonight in the second duel. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much for coming along the broadcast this season again. Really appreciate you. Love the work that you and your team provide for us in the league. Really appreciate you. We appreciate ASC Services and Supply jumping on this season and being our sponsor for the league. That's really cool of them to come along and sponsor us for the season coming up. We're really looking forward to putting on a good show for everybody. I saw we had a good amount of viewers again tonight just for the duels, so I hope that continues as well. Make sure you like and subscribe. Fireball Talks.
Absolutely. Thank you once again, Caleb Morrissey, second tonight. We're going to drag him back in and get our final driver, and that final driver will be Dylan Body in the 26 machine, able to come home third in your duel. So how do you feel after this?
I'm going to Disneyland. Just keep racing until the session ends.
And not sure if you got a copy there. Dylan Body, how you feeling?
A little heartbroken, if we're going to be honest. It's a little rough there. I had a move coming, and I don't know, 17 just went 3 wide there, and I had no idea he was 3 wide until I was already sideways and looking at the wall. It was a little different there, but I thought we'd have a run at the end. Me and Ryan were trying to time it. I was telling him, wait. And then right when I said go to move up high, I was going to give him the shove to take the win. He had to check up to not wreck Morrissey there. So respect to him for not wrecking somebody. That's awesome. But I really thought we had it there at the end. I thought the car was dead, and then it came back. Still had something left at the end there.
And certainly proving you had something left there. So, of course, going throughout the field and eventually finishing in third. So, learning a lot for next week's event. How do you feel going into it?
As long as we can keep it clean, it's going to be a lot longer of an event. And this is actually a setup that I brought over for us for this. Very familiar with it, running in another league. The tires do not handle after about 23 laps. So if we get some long fuel runs, it's going to get really dicey out there, and then saving a set of tires is going to be really important at the end. So I think if we can keep it clean and not have to burn a set from getting maybe spun out early, I think we'll have a shot. Especially if I got a couple of the Trap House boys left over, they'll give me the run that I need. And I pride myself on my restrictor plate racing. It's about all I'm worth a look at. So I try to put on a show when I come out here, and glad we were able to do something tonight. But definitely looking forward to 2 weeks from now. We're going to do it up big.
Absolutely put on a great show, and we are looking forward to it as it is going to be 2 weeks' time. Apologies there, but either way, the 26 machine, Dylan Body, any final thoughts?
Nothing really, man. I just want to thank everybody who's watching for checking it out. Look forward to see us. It's going to be a lot bigger crowd, probably pushing 35, 40 come the big race. So just stay tuned. It's going to be a whole lot more wild than this is. This is pretty tame right now, even what we're doing now out on the track as a group doing some practice here. But it's going to be a whole lot more cutthroat come that first race. Everybody likes to win at Daytona, start the season off right. And I can't wait for it, guys. Look forward to it. Thanks for y'all for doing this tonight, last minute. And can't wait to see you.
Absolutely. Dylan Body coming home third in the second duel. Thank you once again for your time.
Of course, guys.
The yellow flag is out.
And as it stands, everyone doing some practice right now, but the duels are over, and these guys are just working at the car as it stands. 3 laps in a 5-lap practice race in the pole sitter. For tonight's event, it is going to be Matthew Rodriguez coming home on the top of the board. And he's on pit road right now, just waiting to get back onto the track. As a matter of fact, it looks like he will be limping back on grass. He's in it right now, but he comes home on top in qualifying. The duels are over, and the front row has been set. Matthew Rodriguez and Scott Wheeler. And we got to thank every one of you for stopping by for tonight's event. If you enjoyed it, once again, be sure to like and subscribe. 1 subscriber away from 700, and it means the world to have all the support behind us for tonight's event. Truly a great turnout, even though this was absolutely some last-minute broadcasting. We're really happy to be back this season with the Highline Racing League and all their great partners, so if you enjoyed the fun, once again, be sure to like and subscribe. It is always greatly appreciated, and we love putting on shows for every one of these drivers, and we love the feedback that we get week after week, and what a show we saw put on tonight. The duels are over, and we can't thank you enough for stopping by. Thank you all once again, and we hope you have a great night.